What's up, everybody? Welcome. It is Sunday. We're back from our little vacation with it's a family obligations. It is 8:01 Pacific Standard Time. You know where your cryptids are, unless you're listening to this on Spotify. Then I don't know what time it is when you're listening to Spotify, but I do know that it drops this coming Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Cryptid, he's back up over here. Well, we got this guy right here too. Sorry,
He's right there.
he's my friend.
All right. Well, we're back. Get back in the thing of things. Got some new backdrops. We got new movie posters. I guess that's top of the hour. We've got new art going around. We've got new movie posters. The movies have been, I'm going to just say, not really postponed or delayed. We're just got to get through some graduations, some birthdays, and a little bit. And then we'll be back out in the field and we'll be filming. As always, we're not going to set a release date. Those will either be on Amazon or they'll be on YouTube. We're going to figure out which one's going to actually accept these. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I believe this is time for Miss Lady Tammy, to kick it off.
Hi, welcome to tonight's episode of Unleashed. We want to thank all of our viewers for joining us, and don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, where we have all of our previous episodes available. Tonight we have some viewer shout-outs that goes to Anna Lee, Danny, Anastasia, and Cheyenne. You all know who you are. Okay, so over the last couple of episodes, the guys and the viewers have challenged me to find information for stories on different topics. And Silent Negan chose this week's topic of haunted prisons. There were so many to choose from, so I hope you like the ones that we're going to talk about tonight. Now sit back and listen to the stories of notorious criminals, old prisons, and the ghost that lives within the walls of these old places. So just outside of Chicago sits the old Joliet prison. It was the site of hundreds of executions. The imposing dark appearance of the prison casts a shadow on its surrounding area. Given its sprawling perimeter and neo-Gothic architecture, Joliet was known for its unsanitary and unsafe conditions, with government officials calling for its shutdown for most of the facility's existence, but it still stayed open for quite a while. Once seen as a model for prison reform, it didn't take long before the halls were overcrowded, the cells were packed, and the walls were soaked with tension, violence, and fear. Over the years, the fortress housed some of the most notorious criminals in American history. Among its long list of inmates, you guessed it, was, who do you think?
Capone.
What about you other guys? It was John Wayne Gacy.
Oh,
And he was known as the Clown Killer. Gacy was an American serial killer and sex offender who did really awful things before he murdered at least 33 young men and boys between 1972 and 1978 in Norwood Park Township, a suburb of Chicago, Illinois. He became known as the Killer Clown due to his public performances as a clown prior to the discovery of his crimes. That's right, the infamous John Wayne Gacy served prison time right there along with other Joliet famous inmates whose crimes still chill everyone to the bone. Okay, so, but what really happened inside those grim echoing corridors? Is Joliet prison still operating, or has it been left to the ghost of its past? Some say the spirits of those executed or murdered within the walls still roam the halls today. Whispers, shadows, cold spots, and screams that seem to come out of nowhere. Joliet Prison was originally known as the Illinois State Penitentiary. The facility opened in 1858, just a few years after Joliet was founded. The spooky Gothic architecture of the building can be attributed to W.W. Boyington, who also designed the Chicago Water Tower. Joliet Prison was meant to relieve overcrowding at the nearby Alton State Penitentiary. Prisoners were used as laborers to build Joliet, and once completed, the process of transferring those prisoners began. The last of the inmates from Alton State arrived in Joliet in 1860. The prison was still in use during the Civil War, where it housed both criminals and Confederate prisoners of war. In the beginning, Joliet was revered as a model prison, but that quickly changed as the population of the prison swelled beyond the capacity. By the late 1870s, over 2,000 inmates packed the cell blocks, and the living conditions were unsanitary at best. There were several calls to close the prison in the early 1900s. Statesville Penitentiary was constructed in the 1920s as a replacement, but Joliet continued to operate even after Statesville was built. Some of Chicago's more infamous criminals were housed at Joliet. In the 1920s, Nathan Leopold and Richard Loeb were sentenced to life in Joliet Prison after the murder of 14-year-old Robert Franks. Leopold and Loeb were two wealthy students from the University of Chicago and believed that they had committed the perfect crime. And I read something where they said that it was just something to do. Do you guys remember the story of Robert Franks?
No.
Okay.
How long ago was that?
I
Yeah.
was like, huh.
Last season, we learned about Bobby Franks at the start of our Route 66 series.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, after his death at the hands of Leopold and Loeb, who was actually Bobby's cousin, his parents moved into the Drake Hotel in Chicago. And that's where they lived until they died. And then now they still continue to haunt the hotel.
Did they throw anybody out a window?
Yes.
I don't know, but it may have been the same hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, all the ones in Chicago, people were getting thrown out of windows. I forgot to look that one up. According to police and relatives, the two had delusions of grandeur, spurred by this concept of uber.
You got a compliment. You lost your place.
Yeah, well, no, I can't pronounce something that I typed. But anyway,
Just go with the fact that somebody on here just said, "Lady Tammy, you were so beautiful and amazing," and you went, "Oh, I lost my place because I was so emotionally overcome."
thank you, Susan. Shout out to Susan. She's an awesome, awesome lady, and she is beautiful as well and amazing. And let's see. So they perceived superiority and compared themselves to others, and so they believed that they could break the law and everything was okay. So they just acted as they pleased without any regard for the consequences, and so they decided to murder little Bobby on his way. They kidnapped him on his way home, probably from school or something. But they took precarious steps to cover their tracks and create an elaborate plan to collect a ransom from the Franks family. But after the case gained widespread media coverage, they abandoned that plan. But eventually, the clues that they left behind, the police were able to go right back to him and arrest him and put him on trial. And they were both originally sentenced to the death penalty, although they were saved by the defense attorney who decided to argue for life sentences. So at first, the pair did their time at Joliet Prison, but then the authorities are like, no, we need to keep these guys apart. So, but they still maintained their friendship, but they were transferred to Statesville, where Loeb was actually murdered by a fellow inmate. And Leopold completed the rest of his time at Statesville and contributed to the improvement of the overall quality of life inside the prison. He organized the prison library, he taught classes, and he submitted himself for experimental treatments. He was actually released from prison in 1958. I don't think I'm going to do that.
I'm not touching that. I'm not going with a comment on that.
I was waiting for that. I was so waiting.
Nope, I'm avoiding. Go ahead.
Okay. So this next guy I know you've heard of. He was a Depression-era gangster and bank robber. Not Al Capone, but Babyface Nelson was also incarcerated in Joliet for a short time. He was born Lester Joseph Gillis, but he became known as Babyface due to his youthful appearance and dashingly good looks. Ironically, no one ever had the nerve to call him Babyface to his face. But that's exactly what he was known, how he was known when he and his crew were called the Tape Bandits. They were finally busted in the winter of 1931. So why do you think they were called the Tape Bandits?
It's probably going to be something so damn simple we're going to kick ourselves. They tape people to chairs?
That's what I was going to say.
They taped
They taped the mouth shut. Yeah.
The gang had a signature move. They'd tie up their victims with tape and strip the place of anything valuable. Cash, jewels, you name it. They weren't just picking random homes either. They had a thing for high-profile targets, making headlines after pulling off the heist. One of them was the home of a well-known magazine editor. And if that wasn't bold enough, they even robbed the wife of the Chicago mayor at the time, Big Bill Thompson. Babyface was sentenced to 1 year to life in prison, first doing time at Joliet. The time was short-lived, however, as the elusive bank robber escaped during a transfer. He went back to his seedy ways, making friends with other well-known gangsters like John Dillinger and Pretty Boy Floyd. His run came to an end in 1934 when he was killed in a shootout with federal agents. Okay, so in 1975, the Black P. Stones, an organized crime group from Chicago, took over the cell block at Joliet Prison. They held several correctional officers hostage and demanded that they not be separated and transferred to other prisons. The organization had gained too much power within Joliet, and the authorities were conspiring to break them up. They were going to send the more prominent members to other prisons. Fred L. Finkbeiner, the prison warden at the time, spoke to the inmates through the intercom system. He attempted to de-escalate the situation and assured the prisoners that they wouldn't be hurt. He sent in former Black P. Stone member Herbert Cadillac Gatlett to negotiate. Cadillac was a reform member and had long since begun cooperating with the authorities. So when he went out to hey buddies, let's go along, let's cooperate and all this, they killed him.
All that coming.
So the warden later came out to speak to the rioters and delivered a speech to the organizing inmates while standing in a pool of Cadillac's blood. The situation was resolved shortly afterward. In the 1990s, the population of Joliet was around 1,300. Conditions were unsafe and unsanitary given the standards expected of a modern-day prison. In 2002, Illinois Governor George Ryan closed the prison for what he said was budgetary measures. In the years after its closure, vandals brought graffiti and occasional fires to the old prison. After a decade and a half of neglect, the city of Joliet took control of the property. They enlisted the help of the Joliet Area Historical Museum to turn the old prison into a public works project. This culminated in a 6,000-hour million restoration project that turned the old prison into a museum. And they've been open for tours since 2018. Executions were conducted on site, and sometimes they were gory. Hundreds were killed by electrocution or lethal injection on the grounds of Joliet Prison, and countless other inmates were murdered by inmates or simply died of disease or old age. Needless to say, many who enter the prison have felt some sort of supernatural phenomena. The Gothic architecture, aging infrastructure, and the simple knowledge that death lurks in every turn are enough to keep most tourists on their toes. Reports of paranormal activity have been common in the recent years. However, ghost stories around the prison go back almost a century. The first big ghost story to come out of this haunted prison began back in 1932. That's when prisoners and townsfolk began to hear singing from the convict cemetery near the prison. The distant, ghostly voice quickly caused a media firestorm. Every night for a summer month, the ghost could be heard singing what sounded like a church hymn in a foreign language. A less than spooky explanation was soon identified for the singing ghost. A prisoner who was in charge of the sump pumps in the nearby quarry had been singing on his nightly treks to the pumps. His voice carried through the undeveloped area, creating a ghostly echo into the night. But then there was a lot of holes that began to show up in his story. Prisoners couldn't go to the quarry and back alone. And the quarry had been searched by 1930s ghost hunters nightly, and there was no trace of anyone ever spotted. So despite potential explanations, the legend of the singing specter endures unsolved. Spirits around the old Joliet prison are also regularly seen, enough that they have become fixtures of photos taken during tours of the complex. Strange mists and shadow figures appear in photos taken all through the haunted prison. Some of the prison's ghosts show willingness to appear on camera. Yet this former Joliet Correctional Center's ghosts sometimes mess around with the camera equipment. Visitors to the prison have reported unexplained issues with their cameras and electronics. This occurs most frequently in the main yard. Reports show that these issues mysteriously resolve as soon as the visitors leave the area. Despite being the oldest ghost story, the singing ghost isn't said to linger inside the prison. Most ghosts within the prison walls aren't known for singing, but they make their voices heard in different ways. Disembodied voices are common throughout the complex. In some of the cell blocks, reports of ghostly crying and wailing have also been reported. Some visitors to the cell house have heard the sound of prisoners whistling. Reports say the suggestive whistling came from the cells. The ghosts of Old Joliet Prison have also been known to give sudden, intense feelings to visitors. The feelings that they report have ranged from the sense of being watched to electrifying chills, and they said it's like the emotions of angry prisoners. The Joliet prison has made its way to the big screen due to its notoriety and its supposed hauntingness. The prison has made appearances in films like White Heat, Blues Brothers, and Let's Go to Prison. Well, that sounds like a great movie.
Actually, that is a funny movie.
Blues Brothers, yep.
Let's Go to Prison.
I do remember the Blues Brothers. I hadn't seen the other ones. It's also been on several TV shows like Saturday Night Live, Prison Break, and Bones. Joliet Prison isn't just a crumbling piece of history. It's a place forever marked by violence, despair, and darkness. With famous inmates like Babyface Nelson and members of the Black P. Stones, this was not your average lockup. And let's not forget the most chilling of them all, John Wayne Gacy. Yes, this is the infamous John Wayne Gacy prison where the killer clown spent his final days. Now standing as a museum, the Joliet Prison haunted legacy draws ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and the curious alike. With countless reports of shadowy figures, unexplained whispers, and cold spots in abandoned cells, it's no wonder this place is a paranormal hotspot. Murders, executions, and years of pain echo through its halls. And now we are off to Moundsville, home of the West Virginia Penitentiary. And if you were here for the last show, we were in Point Pleasant. It was West Virginia, right? Where
Yes.
we were
West Virginia.
learning about Mothman. Okay, so operating for 129 years, this brutal facility was notorious for riots, the old Sparky electric chair, and the hole, which was solitary confinement. You can book flashlight tours and paranormal investigations to hear the sounds that still linger. The prison at Joliet provided the prototype for the West Virginia Penitentiary. It was an imposing stone structure fashioned in the castellated Gothic architecture style, adorned with turrets and battlements like a castle. Only the dimensions of West Virginia's facility would differ. It was approximately half the size of Joliet, with no architectural drawings of the West Virginia Penitentiary. None of them's been discovered, so it was an understanding that the plan was developed.
It's a
So
go as
understanding-
you are build. Huh?
What? I missed
Go
that.
as you are build. No plans. You're just gonna build it until you decide that's long enough, big enough.
Exactly. It says that that no plans have been found. So an understanding of the plan developed by the board of directors must have been attained through their 1867 report, which details the procurement of the title for 10 acres of land and a proposal to enclose about 7 acres. Let's
That's
see.
all. Lousy 7 acres.
I know, right? Okay, so from 1863 to 1866, Governor Arthur Borman lobbied the West Virginia legislature for a state penitentiary, but was repeatedly denied. The legislature at first directed him to send the prisoners to other institutions out of state. Yeah, why would you want to have them in your own state?
That way they didn't have to pay for them.
Yeah, and then they directed him to use existing county jails, but both options turned out to be inadequate. After 9 inmates escaped in 1865, the local press took up the cause and the legislature took action. So on February 7th, 1866, the state legislature approved the purchase of the land in Moundsville for the purpose of constructing a state prison. So 10 acres were purchased just outside of what was the city limits then, for $3,000. So Moundsville proved an attractive site, as it was approximately 12 miles north of Wheeling, West Virginia, which was the state capital at the time. I'm sorry, it was south, not north. The state built a temporary wooden prison nearby that summer. This gave prison officials time to assess what prison design should be used. They had chosen a modified version of the design of the Northern Illinois Penitentiary at Joliet, Illinois. Its Gothic Revival architecture exhibited as much as possible great strength and conveyed to the mind a cheerless blank indicative of the misery which awaits the unhappy beings who enter within its walls. That was a quote. I don't remember what it was from. In addition to the construction, the inmates had other jobs to do in support of the prison. In the early 1900s, there were some industries within the prison walls that included a carpentry shop, a paint shop, a wagon shop, a stone yard, a brickyard, a blacksmith, a tailor, a bakery, and a hospital. At the
All
same
on 7
time,
acres.
yeah. At the same time, revenue from the prison farm and inmate labor was financially, so it meant that it was virtually self-sufficient. A prison coal mine located a mile away opened in 1921 and helped fill some of the prison's energy needs and saved the state an estimated $14,000 a year. Some inmates were allowed to stay at the mine's camp under the supervision of a mine foreman who was not a prison employee. Conditions at the prison during the turn of the 20th century were good. According to the warden's report, which stated both the quantity and the quality of all of the purchases of material, food, and clothing have been very gradually but steadily improved, while the discipline has become more nearly perfect and the exaction of labor less stringent. Education was a priority for the inmates during this time, and so they got to attend regular classes. So they constructed a school and library that was completed in 1900 to help reform and educate the inmates.
Okay, so they got all these buildings and stuff on 7 acres. I mean, where are the damn cells at?
I don't know. I think it may have been a multiple story building. Because, yeah. But I'm thinking they were giant, like castle type, so they had lots of levels. And
Ground floor, businesses. Second floor, residential.
top floor, the penthouse, the hotel.
Cigar shop.
So, however, the conditions at the prison worsened through the years, and the facility would be ranked on the United States Department Justice top 10 most violent correctional facilities list. I cannot say some of my words tonight. One of the more infamous locations in the prison, with instances of gambling, fighting, and raping, was a recreation room known as the Sugar Shack.
I'm sure.
Fitting.
Yeah. A notable inmate in the early 20th century was labor activist Eugene V. Debs, who served time there from April 13th to June 14th of 1919, at which time he was transferred to an Atlanta prison on charges of violating the Espionage Act of 1917. In 1929, the state decided to double the size of the penitentiary due to the problem of overcrowding.
Go figure.
Right?
So the 5x7 cells were too small to hold 3 prisoners at a time, but until the expansion, there was no other option. So 2 prisoners would sleep in the bunks, with a third sleeping on a mattress on the floor. The state again used prison labor to complete the phase of construction in 1959, which had been delayed by a steel shortage during World War II. So they had 36 homicides take place in the prison. And one of the most notable ones is the butchering of Artie Wall, inmate number 44670. On October 8th, 1929, after snitching on his fellow inmates, he was attacked while headed to the boiler room by 3 prisoners with dull shivs. And then in 1983, convicted multiple murderer Charles Manson, he requested to be transferred to the prison to be nearer his family, but they said absolutely not and wouldn't let him go. In 1979, on Wednesday, November 7th, 1979, 15 prisoners escaped from the prison. One of the escapees was Ronald Turney Williams, who was serving time for murder Sergeant David Lilly of the Beckley Police Department on May 12, 1975. He managed to steal a prison guard's service weapon in the escape, and upon reaching the streets of Moundsville, he encountered 23-year-old off-duty West Virginia State Trooper Philip Kessner, who was driving past the prison with his wife. Trooper Kessner saw the escapees and attempted to take action against them, but the prisoners pulled him from his car and Williams shot him. The trooper returned fire at the fleeing suspects despite being mortally wounded. Williams remained at large for 18 months, sending taunting notes to authorities and making the FBI's 10 most wanted list. During that time, he murdered John Bunchek in Scottsdale, Arizona during a robbery and was connected to crimes in Colorado and Pennsylvania. After a shootout with federal agents at the George Washington Hotel in New York City in 1981, he was apprehended and returned to West Virginia to complete several life sentences. Arizona had sought his extradition for his execution, but as of October 2024, he had still remained in West Virginia's custody.
Oh shit, he's still kicking?
It sounds like it.
Damn.
It says that Marshall County Sheriff Robert Leitner was very critical about poor police communications during the break. The sheriff's office and local police did not learn about the escape from the state police. Instead, they heard it over a police scanner. It was a good 20 minutes before anybody knew about the escape. And if someone had notified him, there was a good chance the sheriff's department and the Moundsville police could have been on the scene while the prisoners were still on the block. He was also critical of the four-state manhunt that followed, where convicted murderers David Morgan and Ronald T. Williams, along with convicted rapist Harold Gowers Jr., remained at large. Communication had been very poor. I think they should have kept local law enforcement officers more informed, and I have no idea what they're doing or what they found. So that was his quote. There was another riot in 1986 on January 1st, and it's the most infamous riot in the history of the penitentiary. The West Virginia Penitentiary was undergoing some changes and problems, and security had become extremely thin in all the areas. Since it was a cons prison, most of the locks on the cells had been picked and inmates roamed the halls freely. Bad plumbing and insects caused rapid spreading of various diseases, and with the prison holding more than 2,000 men, crowding was an issue. Another major contribution to the riot's cause was that it was a holiday. So many of the officers had called off work, and the prisoners planned to conduct their uprising on that particular day when staff was short. Around 5:30 p.m., 20 inmates, known as a group called the Avengers, stormed the mess hall where Captain Glasscock and others were on duty. Within seconds, the captain, 5 other officers, and a food service worker were tackled and slammed to the floor. Inmates put knives to their throats and handcuffed them with their own handcuffs. Although several hostages were taken throughout the day, none of them were seriously injured. However, over the course of the 2-day upheaval, 3 inmates were killed for an assortment of reasons. The inmates who initiated the riots were not prepared to take charge of it. Danny Lehman, the Avengers president, was quickly agreed upon as best suited for the task of negotiating with authorities and presenting the demands to the media. But he wasn't part of the 20 men who began the riot. So then the governor, Arch Moore Jr., went to the penitentiary to talk with the inmates. The meeting set up a new list of rules and standards on which the prison would build. National and local news covered the story, as well as the inmates meeting with the governor. And then from 1899 to 1959, 94 men were executed at the prison. Hanging was the main method of execution until 1949, And there were public viewings until June 19th, 1931, with 85 men meeting that fate.
Come on,
June
kids, grab the popcorn.
Yeah. On June 19th, 1931, Frank Heyer was executed for murdering his wife. When the trapdoor beneath him was opened and his full weight settled into the noose, he was instantly decapitated. Following this event, attendance at hangings was by invitation only. The last man executed by hanging was Bud Peterson from Logan County, who was buried in the prison's cemetery because the family refused to claim his body.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a half second there,
Okay.
Tammy. Josh, if you don't say, "Good evening, Mr. Bond," or "Hello, Mr. Powers," Mr. Bigglesworth.
This is Lois. Hi, Lois. She was bugging me.
Sorry, Tammy, I had to slip it in.
Oh no, that's great. I didn't.
We're
I was-
talking about prisons and criminals, and Josh has got a cat stroking it like Mr. New, Mr. Dr. Evil, Mr. Bigglesworth, yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Powers. Now you will die.
All right.
So which one of you is Austin?
Sorry for the distraction, but she was bugging me.
That's okay. I got the baby gate up over the door so Mia can't get in.
So beginning in 1951, electrocution became the means of execution. The electric
Shocking good
chair,
time.
the electric chair used by the prison was nicknamed Old Sparky, and it was originally built by an inmate who lived at the prison named Paul Glenn.
You notice I said shocking good time, and Tammy just little hiccup and just you were going on.
I honestly couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said it's a shocking good time.
Oh yeah.
But up, dun, dun.
The last execution carried out in the state's electric chair was that of Elmer Brunner on April 3rd, 1959. 9 men were electrocuted before the state prohibited capital punishment entirely in 1965. The original chair is on display in the facility, and it's included in the official tour. So toward the end of its life as a prison, the facility was marked by many instances of riots and escapes. In the 1960s, the prison reached the peak population of 2,000 inmates. With the building of more prisons, the number then declined to 600 to 700 by 1995. And the fate of the prison was sealed in 1986 in a ruling by the West Virginia Supreme Court, which stated that confinement to a 5 by 7 foot cell constituted cruel and unusual punishment. Within 9 years, the prison was closed, and most of the inmates were transferred to Mount Olive Correctional Complex in Fayette County, West Virginia. A smaller correctional facility was built about a mile away in Moundsville to serve as a regional jail.
You said West Virginia?
Yep.
I will not bust in the song just for James' sake tonight.
That's all right. You can be my guest if you really want to.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Okay.
She's Austin, please.
Yeah. So to keep inmates under control, the guards would sometimes use torture devices.
Like listening to John Denver for all hours of the night.
Well, they had one that was called the shoe fly, which the hands, feet, and head of the inmate were restrained in the device, and ice cold water would be sprayed hard in the face. It was impossible to turn your face away. And then there was Kicking Jenny. It was invented and built in the prison. An inmate would be bound to the device and was almost beaten to death by the whip. Okay, according to many, there's no prison in the world that's as haunted as much as the Moundsville Penitentiary.
Until we get there and they decide the ghosts are like, oh, no, we're gone. We're out.
Yeah. It says a reason for that might be because of the fact that the prison was built on top of an Indian burial ground.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
We have traveled to a new. I forgot to write this. We have traveled to a new one because the Moundsville Penitentiary is actually the Ohio.
State Reformatory.
Yeah. Is that where we're at? I don't
We
know.
got 2 weeks and we're just a total mess.
I know. So I think it was built on top of an Indian burial ground, which of course is asking for trouble. Legend says the grounds are cursed.
Oh, here we go with curses again.
Watch out for 13.
Yeah.
So
Ever since the
we're saying
1930s,
curses.
people claim to have seen or heard or felt something because of all the violence the place has seen over the years. There's residual energy at the place. This means that we're still at the same penitentiary. This means that certain incidents play over and over like a movie. The spirit of R.D. Wall is seen in the basement without his head. Prisoner Roberts is haunting his own cell, probably because he was buried just outside of the wall behind it. Orville Paul Adkins' spirit is often seen at the place where he was hanged. He was actually executed twice on March 21st, 1933.
No, the first time was
Trial run.
trial.
Well, so he was about to be hanged, but the hatch accidentally opened before the noose was around his neck. So he fell down head first and was mortally injured.
That was his getaway.
Yeah.
He failed. He deserves to die.
And then it says, with Frank Heyer's gruesome death still in everyone's minds, he was put back on his feet and executed as fast as they could. No wonder the man still haunts the gallows. Many have seen the Shadow Man, who is believed to be the ghost of a gruesome guard, but it might as well be part of the spirit of the influential inmate. This is a highly intimidating ghost that roams the former cafeteria. When people walk into the North Hall, where heavy criminals were held, fear is often experienced. The Sugar Shack, the winter recreation room, is loaded with ghosts. But there's no evidence of people ever getting murdered here, but many rapes and fights took place there. Also, the chapel, the shower rooms, and the electric chair Old Sparky are referred to as ghostly hotspots. People often hear footsteps and whispers here and have the eerie feeling of being watched. Some even claim they were followed. There are reports of people being grabbed by the arm, even though they're all alone. The heavy iron revolving door sometimes turns by itself like a new inmate was brought in. Okay, now we're off to Ohio, to the Mansfield Reformatory, or also known as the Ohio State Reformatory, which boasts a fascinating history. And this is one that Silent Negan has been to.
Yes.
And do you have anything you want to say about it before we get started?
So you guys have, well, maybe Doc and James have also felt this. You ever hear the stories of, it felt really heavy in here?
Yeah.
I've never kind of quite understood what that was until I went up to the warden's wife's apartment up there in Ohio State Reformatory. You walk in there, it just felt like you were underwater. It was very, very bizarre. The cells were decrepit, sounds everywhere, footsteps everywhere, lots of orbs being, I count most of that as dust myself, but even Doc saw a couple of the pictures I sent and says, that's something there. It was very active that night for sure. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, beautiful building, huge, and I would love to go back.
Let's buy the tour bus. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so it was constructed between 1886 and 1910. It initially served as a reformative space for young first-time offenders. offering them a chance at rehabilitation away from the severe environments of maximum security prisons. The architectural brilliance of Levi Schofield stands today, a blend of Victorian Gothic, Richardsonian Romanesque, and the Queen Anne styles, designed to inspire reform and spiritual reflection among its inhabitants. Despite its lofty ideals, the reformatory was plagued by overcrowding, reports of inmate abuse, leading to its closure following a lawsuit in 1980. The structure, however, continues to live on through its appearances in popular culture, including the films like
Shawshank Redemption.
Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum.
and various paranormal investigations. Does the spirit world stir within the walls of the Mansfield Reformatory? Many believe so. This historic site was in operation from 1896 to 1990, and it's became notorious for paranormal activity, drawing ghost hunters and the curious alike. The reformatory's chilling atmosphere is compounded by numerous reports of ghost sightings, eerie whispers, and unexplained phenomena. Notably, ghostly residents include Helen Glatke, the wife of the former superintendent, and various former inmates are said to haunt the cells and corridors, particularly the solitary confinement area known as the Hole. These accounts have been supported by numerous paranormal investigations, some of which have been featured on paranormal television programs that I'm not saying the names of. The prison cemetery located near the buildings contains the bodies of at least 200 prisoners killed within the Mansfield Reformatory walls. Some died of disease, others at the hands of prison guards, their fellow prisoners, or even at their own hands. The cemetery is reportedly hard to photograph, as most cameras stop working once a visitor set foot on its grounds. And small items like the metal grave markers move around on their own, probably under the power of unseen hands. The chair room, named after the sole piece of furniture in it, holds a dark spirit within its walls. The chair can be heard scraping around and on the floor when no one's in the room. And a paranormal hunter received scratches from the ghost as he sat in the chair. Supposedly, the ghost dislikes the chair being moved by human hands. Moving it to the center of the room really makes him mad, and he will push it back to the same creepy corner that it's sat in for years.
You realize, of course, if we go to this thing and they get told this, hey, don't move that chair. Josh's going to be there going,
I'm moving that chair.
I'm moving that chair. It's going to be moved. I mean, like when we went to the cemetery out in Deer Island, they said, yeah, don't go to this corner. You'll make George upset and he'll push you. And, well, Negan just has that ability of either A, I want to pet the puppies and chase them through the woods, or B, oh, there's a ghost that's going to get pissed off if I do something. I'm going to do it. All in the name of science.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Tammy, go ahead.
Okay, as the story goes, Helen Glatke, wife of the warden Glatke, haunts the administration wing of the building. She was killed in 1950 when a gun fell onto the floor and left her with a fatal bullet wound. That's convenient.
You can also smell her. It's like a rose perfume or something when you walk through her residence there.
You beat me to it. Because the next sentence says, now a rose-scented perfume wafts from a bathroom she once occupied. Cold spots are felt in the sealed hallways, and visitors' cameras cease to work until they leave the wing. Sometimes the voices of Helen and her husband can reportedly be heard in the area. But the basement of the Mansfield Reformatory is one of the creepiest places in the building. The spirit of a fatally beaten 14-year-old boy allegedly appears down there, alongside a prison guard with a malicious presence.
It was reformatory too, James. That's why he was young.
I was just gonna say, what the hell?
I saw that look.
Boy in the guard there. I'm like, hello, something's not right here.
That's kind of juvie. And then it says, the hole, as you can imagine, is synonymous with solitary confinement. Located in the basement of the prison, the hole was where the worst prisoners went, where they were tortured, sometimes to death, by the prison guards. An infamous incident occurred where 2 prisoners were sent to the hole together and only one emerged. At one point, over 100 prisoners were crammed into this tiny space designed for 20. As a result, the hole is allegedly filled with creepy spirits who cause cold spots, nausea, make people feel as though an unseen person is breathing down their necks, and generally cause extreme discomfort. The chapel, despite its designation as a holy place, is just as haunted as anywhere else on the grounds. Spirits supposedly lurk throughout the space, showing up as ghostly orbs and photographs. See, there you go. When inside the chapel, one hears phantom voices, while eerie, unseen hands grab you as you attempt to walk out of the main room. The east cell blocks were once listed in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the largest freestanding group of cells. Now they hold just as many ghosts. One of the spirits belonged to a man who set himself on fire in the cell. He apparently doused himself with kerosene and lit a match. By the time the guards got to him, it was too late and his skin was already falling off in chunks.
Oh.
So there's a little debate about that, whether he actually set himself on fire or someone else had set him on fire. Yeah. So it hasn't been confirmed one way or another yet, but yeah.
So he was burned.
Yeah.
We got that part.
Yep.
So yeah, it says that he haunts the cell where he died and sometimes shows himself to visitors. The stairs leading to the guard tower are haunted by unseen entities who push visitors, and they're not just love taps either. Disembodied voices also permeate the area, but they pale in comparison to the entities strong enough to violently shove grown men up and down the steps. Add in the stairs' steep and rickety structure, there's nothing heavenly about this stairway. The prison infirmary, a place once filled with sick and dying prisoners, is now filled by their ghosts. While in operation, the infirmary routinely failed to meet the needs of an alien inmate, and then they would die of neglect and starvation. So in addition to its sad and sinister history, the infirmary also gives off high electromagnetic readings, according to paranormal experts, which people think leads to the ghostly orbs found in photos. The road leading to the prison is said to be haunted by the ghost of an eccentric local woman named Phoebe Wise. While alive, Wise endured a great deal of hardship, surviving multiple robberies in her own home, even killing a stalker on her doorstep.
Good for her.
Years upon years of terrible circumstances made Wise into a hermit, with local children branding her as a witch. According to folklore, she appears at the side of the road to people heading towards a reformatory, and sometimes going as far as to try to hitch a ride until she disappears before their very eyes. And with the disappearing ghosts, our time on tonight's episode comes to an end. We hope you enjoyed the stories about ghosts and haunted prisons tonight. Coming up in the next episode will be haunted ships.
And then I believe we have after that is haunted lumberjacks.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some.
Oh, we have comments. I didn't get to. I can't see them on my phone.
We just got 2 of the comments.
Okay.
One at the beginning, and then for AI viewers, we don't need the AI watching our stuff.
Nope.
Well, I mean, maybe we should, because that way the AI would take care of itself. It would just sit there and go, God, this stuff is so horrible. These guys are sick in the head, and the AI has to take itself out back and put itself out home. Maybe we have saved humanity. We are better than John Connor.
There you go.
Skynet.
We have polluted the AI system. Maybe I should hit that and be like, sign up, yes, give us AI viewers.
No. Oh, no.
And the AI just crashes out. I know, I'm guilty of using a lot of AI for the posters and stuff.
Isn't it fun though?
It is.
Too addicting.
I don't know, I think it cleaned up the new logos quite nicely from what I can do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
got a
I
little
think
more color. And,
So we got a few minutes. I'll tell you one more little tidbit while we're in Ohio State Reformatory. My best friend was with us, and he was wearing a shirt kind of similar to mine with a little bit looser sleeves, and he felt something tug on his sleeve. And he was, we were with a group doing a tour, and he said it quietly so other people didn't kind of go around and goes, if that's somebody here, could you do it again? And sure as shit, pulled it harder, so hard, and he's a bigger guy, pulled his arm down with it at the same time, and he came over, he goes, look at my arm, and got goosebumps all on his arm, and he was very excited.
nice.
So, but we had more experiences in the upstairs in the living quarters than we did in the cells or the chapel. The chapel was really cool though, but it was falling apart. I'll send a couple pictures in the group chat.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. I guess we can
Very,
wrap it
very
up
cool
with.
Place.
Yeah, I know. I think I was silently cursing you. I think I was at work and you were sending me pictures. I would rather be there, but now I'm here staring at airplanes. So the last little bit, we've got, if you listen to Spotify, we have War Room that releases on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Unleashed will release on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And then starting in July, we have a brand new show, Operation Probably, which will be every Thursday at 1 p.m. So we'll have 3 shows in the middle of the week.
Holy shit. We're trying to say we're going to be busy.
Gonna be.
Yeah, we don't have nothing important to do. We're doing some documentary shit. We got the 2
and full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. There are doctors that have a full-time job except for daydreaming while he's doing his job.
Oh, I've said before, my job is a brain-dead job, man. I've got too much time to think and sit in my head. That's why I wrote the book. I wrote these other things. I've got all these ideas.
Why don't you plug the book, Doc?
Because it's in the rough draft, but yeah, it's going to be a trilogy series. Book 1 is done. It's in a rough draft form. I got to go back through it and clean it up a little bit here and there, but it is called The Madam. It takes place in a little town called Cherrywood during their Halloween festival. I'm sure it has nothing to do with St. Helens and its festival.
Zero.
Zero with it, even though both cities have a giant pumpkin in the town square. But it deals with I've taken local history, local ghost stories, and I've kind of made it my own a little bit. So I'm going off of actual history, actual events, actual investigations, what we've done, and turned it into a book.
But you changed the names to protect those of the innocent.
I gave all new names. Some people were changed. I have talked to a few of the people whose characters have characters based off of them. And I did change one from a male to a female because I had too many guys in the book. So I had to balance it out with everything. It worked out better this way. But I don't have a release date for this one. I am not going to rush it. We're going to just take it easy. It might even be a podcast. It might be an audio book down the road. I don't know.
Oh shit!
No, I want paper in hand, sir. I gotta read it.
Yeah. We need a hard copy.
Yes.
I want to see it in the movie.
Well, this actually, it originally was going to be some we were going to shoot during Halloween Town. So it's a little YouTube short, and then I was started working on it, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew, and I'm like, well, I can't shoot this now. I don't have the budget, so I wrote it out, and now it'll be something. I'll do something with it after the rough draft and clean it up, and we'll go from there.
Kickstarter coming 2027.
I ain't gonna rush it. Anyways, we are out of time, so everybody do your sign-offs.
Oh, all right. It's been so long, I can't remember. Just kidding. Keep your cryptids close and tight. Hug them all night. Till next week.
Remember, ghosts were people too.
Don't forget to pet your puppies.
Not everybody. See you next week.
Good night.
Nay.